fish pie with a French twist. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, and it smelled gorgeous when it came out of the oven. We're going to start by creating a lovely milk and cream kind of stuff to poach our fish. Poach our fish in. So here we go with 300 milliliters of milk, whichever milk you normally use, and 50 ml of double cream, or heavy cream I think we call it in the US. And it goes into our pan, normal boiling pan, with a bay leaf. I have bay leaf trees in the garden, but a dry one will do perfectly well. A small onion and a clove. It's going to really flavor that milk and cream before we poach our fish in it. So bring it to boil slowly so it has the time to infuse with the flavors. And in goes our selection of fish from the local supermarket. And we're going to poach it just 3 minutes. We don't want to overcook it, we want to play. Once it's cooked for 3 minutes, sieve it because we want to keep that beautiful milk cream and now all the fish flavors. And we're going to create our bechamel sauce from it. The fish will then go into a dish that fits into your air fryer. Now my air fryer is really small, and I've discovered that there is one absolutely gorgeous pudding dish that fits right in. Now, use the same pan. We don't want to create a million pots. We are busy cooks, and we're going to melt 30 grams of butter. I always use salted butter, but it really doesn't make much difference. And in our melted butter, we put 30 grams of plain flour. And we want to really mix the butter and the flour before we start adding anything. And we need to give the time for the flour to cook a little bit. So give it a minute or two of stirring to cook the flour with the butter. So the butter goes into the flour and then it will taste cooked, because if you don't do that, the flour really struggles to cook and it doesn't taste the same. So we've got our cooked flour, and now we've got our milk. It's still a little bit warm, so as opposed to with cold liquid, we're going to add it little by little. Stir in between to really make the flour melt into the milk, and then every time let it cook for a split second or for a few seconds, and add a little bit more milk. And little by little you're going to create this beautiful white sauce, which has all the flavors of the bay leaf and the onion and the fish, and it's really a beautiful, creamy, really homey, and you know, this kind of dish that makes you all warm inside. Proper winter dish. It's a lovely dish to share this. So we've put our milk little by little, we're creating our sauce, and this is the kind of moment I find relaxing. You know, people will do some coloring and things like that to relax and to take their mind out of the worries of every day. Well, this is my coloring. Taking time to add the milk and see it see the sauce dissolve and see it being created, and feel the flour cook in the pan, feel the smells. This is what I absolutely love. So little by little we're doing this beautiful, creamy, hearty, tasty, full of flavor, nice bechamel sauce. The difference between white sauce and bechamel is just it's made with milk. We'll add a bit of nutmeg. The best is to have the whole nutmeg and grate a little bit, but there wasn't any more at my local supermarket, so I'm stuck with grated nutmeg and some salt. So this is the seasoning. You can add any seasoning you fancy. Taste it, just check if it's right for you, if you think that's what you want it to taste. And now we're going to add that to our fish in our pudding bowl, or in my pudding bowl. The fish is cooled a little bit, so the sauce is going to cool a little bit, and we do want the sauce to get colder so it hardens on the top, and you can then place whichever topping you want really. Today we're doing courgette, but anything will work, on top of the sauce, and it doesn't sink in. Now let's attack the courgettes. I've washed it and I trim the ends, and then normally I just peel some strips. Now it's not because I don't normally eat courgette skin, it's just because it's pretty. And because I do that every time, I did it today. And then after a little bit, I realized you don't really need to do that with the way we're going to use it. Quarter it, remove the seeds in the middle just because they get really soft, and we do not want to add too much water to our dish. And then with our potato peeler, we're going to make strips. Now the first strips, they are a little bit thin and not so good, but as you go through your quarter of the courgette, they become the better shape, and we will mix and match them. Keep them in a salad bowl or any dish on the side while they wait. So now we've got all our courgette grated in some salt. We're going to salt it. Salt it first because the juice of the courgette is then going to melt the sauce and the salt, and the salt is going to get in the courgette. If you put the oil first and then the salt, the oil will stop the salt from going in the courgette. Just a touch of oil, it's just so we get the browning at the top and it doesn't burn at the top of our gratin. Give it a good stir so each piece of courgette has met with the oil, and now we're ready to create our really pretty gratin. Here we go. So it's been waiting since preparing the courgette, so the sauce is hardened up a little bit, and that means that the courgette will stay on top. Start on the outer part of the pot, and little by little we're going to fill in the top of our gratin with our strip of courgette. And you're going to say, this is going to take ages, this is going to be so boring. And I don't find it boring. You know, I'm going back to my coloring situation. Some people spend 2 hours coloring a beautiful picture, and I enjoy the cooking, and I enjoy this process of putting my little strips of courgette there. They were my mindfulness, they were my peaceful time for the day, and I really enjoyed looking at it. And you know, it's a simple task, but it allows you to stop and to really have those few minutes of peace in your mind, peace. Just concentrate on what you're doing. And the middle bit, we can do a little rose. Some of you will be more artistic than me, maybe with courgettes. And there we are. And what's lovely then is, doesn't it look gorgeous? My good old trusty air fryer. And you see, I was so lucky that pudding pot was for sale at Sainsbury's, and it fits perfectly in height as well. Obviously you don't want anything to touch the top of the air fryer. In it goes. And I love that it's not going to use as much electricity as turning the big oven on just for the two of us tonight. We're going for half an hour at 180 degrees centigrade, degrees Celsius. And then you can just forget about it. It does its own thing, and look what it does. Isn't it gorgeous? Beautiful, beautiful. And we're going to serve it. Now, because we've rounded the courgette all around, I think maybe cutting it like that will help us serving it and not lose this beautiful spiral we've created on top. Now, as you know, fish pie is not the easiest thing to serve, and so it looks good on the plate. We normally have the mash and the sauce, and it's all the same color. So I wanted to really delicately extract the top and try and keep the green and try and keep it pretty, but it was quite difficult. And I think next time I will prepare it in individual pots, individual ramekins, so I can actually put them on the plate next to my vegetable, and it will look good. Et voilà! Bon appétit les amis! See you soon!